Well, hi there. Welcome back if you are coming back, and welcome if you're the first time user of this video channel. I'm Mike Bennett from InsideTracks.co.uk, and I've got a set of 5 videos which is taking you step by step down the path of developing a winning edge in your Betfair trading. When you go Betfair trading, you are in fact trading against other individuals. You're not trading against bookmakers. And therefore, if you can get an edge, if you know more than the others, then you should win more. Should be able to do more things, trade better, know when things are going to happen, and know when prices are value and when they're not. And that should mean that you can be profitable. Now, we're at step 4. So if you're new to this, there are 3 other steps. I'll go through in just a minute, but please do have a look at those. And step 5 will be coming shortly. So step 1, we've looked at horses for courses. I'm not going to go through any of these because I expect or I hope that you'll go back and look at the videos yourselves, but we look at how horses do, some horses do like horses, and that phrase is quite true. Second step was looking at the pace in the race and how important that was in how the race would develop. The third was course and distance draw bias, and how every course and distance will have either a strong or a weak bias. There are very few courses where there's no bias at all, and how to work out what that draw bias is and where to look for it. Now, finally, we're going to, well, finally, this particular step, we're going to look at profiling your horse. So you've gone through the processes of looking at the racing for the day. You've looked at some of those who you think are suitable for you to trade or to bet on if you want to bet on them. And why you're going to trade them. So now let's go into a bit more detail about that horse that you've chosen, or those potential horses that you might want to be trading during the day. So let's have a look at the way we do that. So first, which is probably not unsurprising to you, profiling your horse to find out what brings out the best in that horse. What do you need to consider, therefore, when profiling your horse? Well, of course, there are some horses that like certain courses. And really, the reason why I bring that up again, and it is covered in more detail in step 1, but it's things like, is it a right-handed or left-handed course? You can actually find out more about it. So a horse might prefer a right-handed course, and therefore, it likes York, but it also likes other right-handed courses or left-handed courses. York is in fact a left-handed course. Does it like sharp or stiff trips? So does it do well when the courses are mean that they need to be quickly away and get out in front, and then the race is over, like the Epsom Dash. The race is over in 2 seconds, and if the horse isn't really speedily out and up front, it's not going to win. Or does it want a stiff 5 furlongs, in which case it will be have a bit more stamina, and its speed will be more throughout the race. Flat or undulating courses. Some horses with big strides hate undulating courses. Undulating courses are normally best for horses that are nippy and have a short stride. So again, is your horse a big galloping type? At which point it won't like undulating courses, or is it a little nippy thing that will like sharp bends and undulations? And is the course sharp and with undulations, in which case? Galloping or twisty turning, we just mentioned that. Same deal. Big galloping horses really don't like sharp bends. They get unbalanced and don't do their best. Big galloping types like to gallop on flat tracks and gallop other horses into the ground. So that's one to consider. And then actually, some horses really do like finishing and coming over the top, and therefore things like uphill finishes will suit them, versus those who are out in front who would prefer to have either a flat or a slightly downhill finish, where they get out in front and then they are assisted by that flat finish when it comes to finishing, and they can stay there. So it's a bit more than the horses for courses I was talking about in step 1, but do have a look at that as well, and you'll get more in depth on horses for courses. Does the horse act better on soft or firm ground? Now, obviously, if the horse doesn't run very much, it's very difficult to tell. But the way you tell is you look at the horse's track record, his form, and you look at where it's coming in. I always look in at the races under wins and places. So any horse that's run, say, more than 6 or 8 times, you will get a feel for when they've won or when they've been placed. Was it on heavy ground, or was it on firm ground, or was it on something in between? And you'll generally get a feel for it. Sometimes you see that the horse comes last on heavy ground, and the next race is on firm ground, and it's come first, and you'll know then that it's a firm or a soft ground horse. If they haven't done very much racing, then you will have to know a bit about breeding. Certain horses, certain sires will have children that do better on soft ground, and some will do better on firm, and some will do better on dirt, and some will do better on all weather, and so on and so forth. Which that's very, very difficult for you if you're just someone ordinary punter. And I'm a fairly ordinary punter, so I find it quite difficult. I have over the years, by osmosis, understood that certain horses do better with their children on certain surfaces. So I do have a bit of that knowledge, but I can't say I'm an expert at it. So I tend to look at races where they've had more form that I can go on. So look at it and see whether they're better on soft or firm ground. Then what's their best distance? Again, you can get that out of breeding, and in fact that's a bit easier on breeding actually, because often you've heard of the sire and you know what the sire was best over, and so you'll have a good feel for his best distance. But again, you'll see that trainers often will take a horse and run it over 5 furlongs, it doesn't win. Run it over 6 furlongs, it doesn't win. Then they try it at a mile, it doesn't win. Then they bring it back to 7 furlongs and so on. Also, you'll see in the form when you read it, hit the line hard or one going away, and you'll know then that that horse will have a very good chance of taking on a longer distance. If, however, it was leading at the 1 furlong pole and faded inside the final furlong, then generally it would be better being brought back a furlong. And so you'll get a feel for it when you look at the form as to what is their best distance, what have they done well on before, how does it look when they run over longer or shorter distances? Are they fading? Are they hitting that line hard? Are they finishing strongly? You hear nearest finish. Nearest finish means that they're finishing strongly, and they probably could do with slightly more of a distance to go at. So again, what is their best distance? You need to answer that question. Are they better in small or big fields? That's again from the form. Some horses love to be right in the middle of a big field. It's like being out with your mates. We're in a big crowd. Off we go. Some actually hate that. They hate being closed in by other horses, and they want to be running in a small field. So again, you can see that from the form often. It's not something, certainly you can't get that from the breeding. Do they like to lead, or do they need to be held up? Again, that's very simple from the stats. You can get it off at the races as well. Go to the race and press on pace, and they will give you a good feel for who wants to be in the lead and who wants to be held up. Then you go to the form and check that is actually right, because sometimes they get it wrong. And then you'll have a very good view, and you'll know then from the course what does well. Is it a course where, like Wolverhampton over 1 mile and above, it's almost impossible to lead and win. So if you've got a horse that likes to lead, yes, by all means, have a go at it, but the stats are against you, and you should be, in fact, looking for a horse that's being held up. Do they respond well to pressure? That's something you can get off Timeform if you actually subscribe to them. And actually, it's quite a useful measure to have, because sometimes you see your horse coming up alongside another horse inside the final furlong, and you're going to wonder, is it going to respond and push clear, or is it going to wander? Is it going to raise its head? Is it going to do something silly? And in which case, it's going to not respond well. And so it won't won't win. It won't win, not because it's good enough, but just it hasn't got the sort of mentality. And you do hear jockeys saying, tough as old boots, really responded well to me, etc., etc. And that's a good thing to know and good thing to be looking out for. I look out for it in the post-race interviews, and I note them down when the jockeys say, did well, and when I asked him to go, he went, and all that sort of stuff, and has a good attitude. Attitude, they always say, attitude is the word you're listening for in the post-race interview. Got a good attitude, and generally speaking, that the jockey's saying, when I asked, when I put him under pressure, he responded and gave me a bit more. So that's important to know. There's several places you can find out from, but do by all means check it and look for it and note it in your notes. And the final one is an interesting one, and it's not something that's easily spotted, but you can spot them. In a group of horses, there are horses that like to lead. If they don't lead, they can actually sulk and not bother. So if you see a horse that likes to be in front, and with some other jockey says, "Oh, great, your horse likes to be in front. I'm gonna put my horse and bother you and get in front of you." Actually, the front runner then sulks and doesn't actually run a very good race. Equally, there are horses that when they get to the front, traveling fantastically all over, looks all over the winner. You can even read it in some of the form. Traveling well, looked all over the winner. Even traded right down at 1.01 or 1.02, but then did nothing in the front. Found zero, idled. Doesn't like being in front. And there are some horses that just don't like being in front. You'll see often they have form lines, which is 2, 3, 2, 2, 2, 3, that sort of thing. And you realize that they're going to have to be produced by their jockey on the line, because if they get them into the front too early, they're going to idle, get lonely, whatever it happens to be, find no more, and then they'll lose the race for you. So they're interesting. If you find them, then actually you can do things like low lays on them, and I do have a little section in my newsletter which deals with low lays, and these are generally the horses I look at. So those are the main questions that I ask when looking at the horse and trying to actually work out whether he's going to run or she's going to run well today in the race in question. I look at all these particular points and see whether my horse ticks all the boxes or most of them, and if they do, then I will obviously tip them. If I'm worried about the ground or the distance or the fact that they're in a 3-horse field when they've actually done best in 16+ horse races, then I might well go against them, even though they may be the best horse in the race. They're not going to give it their best. Okay, well, if you don't want to go through all those questions, and I'm happy that you do, and I'm okay if you don't. I do, and that's what I do in the mornings. I go through all those questions, plus all the other steps that I've been through, the steps 1, 2, 3, and I come up with hints and tips in my newsletter, which involve what's my best bet or trade of the day. What's my next best? Who do I think is good for a back to lay? Who am I going to be laying today? And is there one out there, or 2 out there, or more out there that I think have a better chance than their odds, and therefore are long shots that I would want to be doing. This is what we do. I do a roundup of the day ahead, the previous day, tips and what they did, and I put them in the categories, and I give you a good rationale as to why I've chosen him, and what you should expect from that horse in the race. I even give you, who's likely to be the main danger, etc. So you get a good feel for why I've chosen it, and you may disagree. That's fine, absolutely fine. Or you may see something that I say about the danger that you like, and you want to actually trade that or bet that. That's absolutely fine by me, no problem. It's supposed to be hints and tips. It's supposed to point you in the right direction. It's supposed to be something that you can refer back to and say, is my choice in this race something that I would agree with or not. You can try the newsletter. This is delivered to your inbox 5 days a week, Tuesday to Saturday. You can try it free for 14 days. You can cancel anytime you want. So there's no contract. So you could try it for 13 days and cancel. It costs you nothing. So nothing ventured, nothing gained. Go to Inside Tracks Members Club newsletter, sign up, and if you don't like it, fine, just cancel. If you do, and it helps you to be more profitable, fantastic. If you don't want to spend any money, I understand that as well. Then we have the Inside Tracks Trading Academy, which this video makes up part. We have over 120 videos from total beginner to the more experienced trader. But I cover all the topics. You know, do you know how to set up a trading account? And when you're a complete new person to trading, actually the bookies welcome free bets are lovely because you can turn them into cash, about 80 pence to a pound. There's hundreds of pounds worth out there, and you can then make a nice little bank for yourself, which will start you off. And so you're basically getting a starter bank for nothing if you've got a bit of time and want to take advantage of the bookies' welcome free bets. I also have a lot of videos on advising on trading strategies that work best for different experience levels. You don't, as a newbie, want to start with a more complex trading strategy. You probably want to start with something fairly simple, straightforward, but you can move on to more complex trading strategies, and that's for the more experienced trader. We do free webinars, so if there's anything you want to ask, anything that's come up in your trading that you want answered, and hopefully I can answer that in one of the free webinars. And access to the one-to-one training. I do an hour where you tell me what you're trying to get out of your trading, and then we have a telephone conversation, and I try and give you a view as to what I think you should be doing. It costs money, but you get it discounted. You can have a look on the website for that. But to join the Trading Academy is free, and you can do that again on the website, insidetracks.co.uk. So that's now the fourth step to developing a winning edge. Step 5 will be in a few weeks, so look out for that. Or if this has been around, it may well already be up on the YouTube channel. So search for it. If it's not there, it'll be there fairly shortly. If you'd liked this video, please like it. If you aren't subscribed already, please subscribe. And I wish you every luck in your trading or your punting, whichever you're doing. All the best. See you on the next one.